Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I have learned as I have grown into the person that I am today. And I haven't made a video over here in 3 days. I took the weekend off, and then yesterday I wasn't feeling really well. My back was hurting really bad from my back injury, but today I'm feeling much better, and I went to my new back doctor today, and I'm going to talk all about that on my vlog tonight. So I think most of the people that watch this channel also watch my vlog, so you guys will get to hear that story tomorrow when I post that video. I'm not going to tell it twice. So let's just get into reading some meditations, since I haven't done that over here in a couple days. I brought the Melody Beatty books, both of them, and yeah, let's check them out. Well, let's go see which one I should pick. Whichever one I pick first. Okay, here we go, this one. The Language of Letting Go, which is the sister book to Codependent No More. Let's see, it is, I almost said April 15th, gosh. It's not April. I wish we were going into summer instead of going into fall and winter. September 15th. We are halfway through September, which seems so crazy to me. All right, September 15th. Getting through hard times. We are sturdy beings, but in many ways we are fragile. We can accept change and loss, but this comes at our own pace and in our own way. And only when we and God can determine the timing. Codependent no more. Hard times, stressful times, are not all there is to life, but they are part of life, growth, and moving forward. What we do with hard times or hard energy is our choice. We can use the energy of hard times to work out and work through our issues. We can use it to fine-tune our skills and our spirituality. Or we can go through these situations suffering, storing up bitterness, and refusing to grow or change. Hard times, I'm out of breath a little bit. I was sitting outside and I was running inside, taking the computer in. I'm like, let's just relax for a second. I drank my coffee, so now I need some water. Hard times can motivate and mold us to bring out our best. We can use these times to move forward and upward to higher levels of living, loving, and growth. The choice is ours. The choice is ours. Will we let ourselves feel? Will we take a spiritual approach, including gratitude toward the event? Will we question life and our higher power by asking what we're supposed to be learning and doing? Or will we use the incident to prove old negative beliefs? Will we say, nothing good ever happens to me, I'm just a victim? People can't be trusted, life isn't worth living. We do not always require hard energy or stress to motivate us to grow and change. We do not have to create stress, seek it, or attract it. But if it's there, we can learn to channel it into growth and to use it for achieving what's good in life. God, let my hard times be healing times. Interesting meditation. I think it's a good meditation. I would say it's a lesson that I have been learning for the majority of my life and am still continuing to learn today. I would like to be able to sit on here and say that when hard times come, you know, that in my head I'm like hearing that Bob Dylan song that my mom loved, Hard Rain's Gonna Fall. But I think somebody else also did that song. It's not just Bob Dylan, but, you know, I would love to sit on here and say that when tough times are happening or hard things are happening, I go right to the Maya Angelou quote and I say to myself, you know, when you're going through a hard time in your life, look up and say thank you because you're about to learn a valuable lesson. I really do believe that, but at the same time, when you're going through that hard thing in your life, no matter what it is, it's really hard to see the positive in it. It's really hard to see down the road of your journey, like, because you're not there yet, right? So you can't see how you've benefited in any way by what you're going through. You know, in all the tragedies that I've experienced in my life, there have been positive learning experiences that have come from it, you know? I mean, even with my mom's passing, I look at that and I think, well, you know, my mom's passing, I learned the fragility of life. You know, I would exchange these lessons to have my mom back today because hopefully I would learn them in other ways. But I learned about the fragility of life. I learned about the importance of spending time with those that you love and care about. I learned about telling people that you love and care about them, you know, and to be that verbal language is important, not just showing them, not just knowing it, but in telling them, you know. One of the things that I have really learned is, like, you know, when we say, like, well, you know, like, I didn't tell this person I love them a lot, but they just knew it. Like, I'm somebody that needs to know that. Like, I need to hear that. I need to hear from people in my life, you know, like, I care a lot about you. You're important that you're in my life. And One of the reasons in my vlog, when I do the outro and I say, reach out to somebody and let them know how much they mean to you, it's such a simple thing to do that we overlook on a regular basis, to just let people know, like, I'm really happy that you're in my life, you know? When I see my friends, I try to let them know that, because I'm such a believer in the Toni Morrison quote that, you know, when a child walks in a room, your eyes light up, you know? I think that that's such a, I think that's such a truism for adults as well, you know? It's like, whenever I see my friend Valerie, I'm always like, Valerie, I'm so excited to see you, you know? Like, I love just giving, you know, her a hug and seeing her and things like that. And the same with my other friends. Like, when I see Tanya, it's like, I haven't seen my friend Tanya in like a week. She's been, you know, out of town. She went to her lake cabin since last Wednesday, and I might get to see her tonight, and if not tonight, then definitely tomorrow. And I'm like, oh my God, I miss her so much, you know? And Tanya and I have really gotten good about telling each other how much we mean to each other and those kinds of things. Tucker's down here wanting pet. Why don't you come up here? Come up here, buddy. Come on. I think, you know, like my husband and I are very verbal with the I love yous and, you know, kissing each other, you know, goodbye and good night and hello in the morning and things like that. And that's something that, like, that's kind of been a constant through our relationship, honestly. And I think it's one thing that's kind of held us together. And I come from a family of that, you know, that we tell. What are you doing, buddy? I come from a family of, like, you know, telling each other how much you mean to them. But those are some valuable lessons I learned in my mom's, you know, from my mom's passing, that, like, whatever dreams you have, make sure that you're, like, you know, pursuing them today and going after them. Don't wait, you know, for them to happen to you, because it might be too late at that point. You know, with my aunts and my uncles passing, I really learned truly what it means to just suit up and show up and be of service. And I was able to do that in those situations. And that's not a pat on my back, because I think that that's something that's expected of us in life. I think that when you get to a point where you just become that, right? Like, it's kind of like saying that, like, when you graduate from high school, that you should learn how to you should be able to, like, you know, add math and read. Like, I think that that's something we just expect, that if you graduate from high school, the majority of people, if you graduate, you should be able to read and, you know, do basic math, correct? So I believe in life that, you know, that it's just an expectation for us to suit up and show up and be of service to others, right? Sad that I had to learn a lot of lessons in my life, hard lessons, before I could get to the point where I just suited up and showed up. One of the things that was, you know, I personalize a lot of things that have happened in my life. So when things would happen to other people, instead of me, and this is not an excuse today, because I don't use this and I don't allow this as an excuse today, but it was definitely an excuse of my past. And I was just like, this is always why I wouldn't do it, is I would say, I don't want to be intrusive to whatever people are going through. So, like, you know, if something was happening to one of my friends, I'd be like, well, they're surrounded by their family. They don't need me, you know? When in retrospect, and talking to those friends, what I realized was I was the one they wanted around, but they didn't want to have to ask me to be there, you know? Just showing up is a lot. So I think that we learn a lot when we're going through hard times. I really, really do. I think that we can, you know, teach ourselves a lot of lessons by going through hard times. But I want to say this too. I think we have to look at the mentors in our life and the people that are around us. If you're going through something difficult and you know somebody that's gone through something similar and they've made it out or made it through the other side, whether that's a breakup or, you know, like losing a job or, you know, losing somebody in your life because they passed away, or a friendship or whatever, ask somebody that's gone through it and say, you know, like, how did you do this? You know, when Pee-Pee was sick, our dog Pee-Pee, I reached out to a lot of people that I knew that had sick dogs. Like, you know, my friend Tanya owns a dog kennel. She's been around this a lot, and she's lost, you know, pets in her life that were sick. So I talked to her. I talked to my friend Melissa, who, you know, like, I think Melissa and Tanya are, my cousin Caroline, are three people. I'm surrounded by animal lovers, you know? And I look at that and I think, well, maybe they were there to prepare me for this situation in my life, you know? And then when Pee-Pee passed away, it was like, they were my go-to, you know? There was like 3 or 4 people that I just like called, and I was like, I don't know what to do with how I'm feeling, you know? We really, I think, don't talk enough in our lives about the passing of pets and the importance of, like, how you feel. I honestly, like, I knew it was coming. He was sick for a long time, and it just, I mean, it just, to this day, like, I still, you know, have a really hard time with it. And in fact, when we were in Mexico the week after that. Like, Alex and I were both grieving in very different ways. And one of the ways that was really helpful for me is I got on YouTube and I watched a lot. I mean, that was where I truly understood when people say like, oh, your video helped me with this or your video helped me with that. Because I really could never see that before. You know, when people would say, thank you for sharing your story, blah, 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 blah. Like, it never really meant anything to me before because I didn't get it. You know what I mean? Like, I had never experienced that by watching somebody's video and been impacted that way before. And then I started watching all these videos of people that had lost their pets or people. I actually watched a lot of videos of like, I know this may sound silly to people, but this is what I believe, you know, basically what happens to your pet when they cross over the other side. I watched a lot of psychic medium videos, and it helped. It really helped, you know. One of the things that helped a lot for me was, I haven't really talked about this on this channel a whole lot, but one of the things that really helped me was I heard this vet, she was talking about when your animals are sick. And she said, you know, like, animals don't understand the concept, we don't think. I mean, we don't know what they understand, right? But they don't understand the concept of dying. They understand the concept of, I don't want to be in pain anymore. And when you think about it that way, you know, like, even with, like, human beings that we know, you know, like with my aunt, when she was sick towards the end, you know, she just, like, she was ready to go, like she was, you know, and I think about, like, she just wanted to be at home when she passed. And, you know, my cousin had, like, arranged this whole hospice. They brought her home. And, you know, before they came back to the house, my, you know, cousin had a conversation with her. And she said, aren't you afraid, you know, to die? And my aunt said, no, I'm just, you know, I'm ready to be with, you know, my mom and Peter's mom and, you know, and see them again, you know. And she really believed that in Jesus, she said, because she was really, you know, had strong faith. And so she came back to the house. And they got her all set up and, you know, in her bed, and she got to look over the lake, and she was sitting there, and Caroline went in the other room to sign, like, the paperwork after they had all got her arranged. Like, the hospice was getting ready to go, and, like, as soon as it was all done, she passed, you know. And I look at that and I think, like, those are the hard times, I think, that we learn from, you know. I miss my aunt desperately sometimes, you know. I miss the people in my life. I miss my dog so much. He was just such a light, you know, but I think about that, you know, that we have to learn hard lessons. I think life is about hard lessons. I think we learn more from probably mistakes in our life and things that happen to us that are hard, you know, that I went through one breakup that was not pretty, and the next breakup I vowed I wasn't going to go through it that way, you know. And so I have to say, my my last breakup with my ex, we were very civil, and it was, I wouldn't say we were friends, and, you know, we're friendly to each other. I haven't talked to him in forever, but we're friendly towards each other today, if we ever see each other or talk or whatever. And we've had to talk about we had a friend of ours that passed away. And so I had to, like, reach out to him to communicate about, like, the funeral plans and stuff like that. And we were able to be very civil. I don't, like, those are where I learned those lessons in life, you know, and that I don't want to have bitterness in my heart, and I don't want to be angry, and I don't want to be, you know, vindictive to people today, you know. Like, I want to learn the lesson, and I want to take those hard times and grow from them, you know what I mean? Like, I think, like, when you look at people that learn in life, it's like trial and error. I remember asking my dad one time something about, like, there was something that, I can't remember what it was, when my mom passed away, so of course, like, you know, the condo and everything became mine, and I didn't know about having, this is so silly, but it's a good analogy. I didn't understand about, like, homeowners insurance. And so, like, I had all these, like, late fees associated with the homeowner's insurance because I didn't know that I was supposed to pay it. It wasn't through her mortgage. I don't know why. Like, you know, a lot of people have it through their mortgage. So anyway, I said to my dad, I said, Dad, like, I didn't know that I was supposed to do this. And he was like, okay. And my dad and I have, like, great, you know, we have great conversations and whatever. And he said to me, he goes, and I said, well, why didn't you teach me that stuff? Like, you didn't teach me any of this stuff. And he started laughing on the phone. He goes, Peter, I wouldn't even know all the things to teach you about how to be an adult, you know? He goes, everything I learned was by trial and error. He goes, you think I knew that stuff when I started? He goes, everything I've learned in my life is by trial and error. And I think that that's so true. You know, we learn, and he then went on to say later, you know, like, if I could show you my life, well, I think he had said this before, but he said it again later, but he said, in my life, if I could show you everything that I've done in my life, all the successes I've had, all the mistakes I've made, and you could base your life off of that, you know, he's like, you could be very wealthy, very happy, and have a great life. He goes, but I know that you need to make your own decisions and you need to live your life the way that you live it, you know, and that's true. But hardships come with that, and hard times come with that, you know. Hell, I look back on my life, you know, and in all honesty, I think sometimes my happiest moments were when I had the least amount of money and was struggling the hardest, you know? I mean, I look at those early days of sobriety, and as tough as they were, like, and as simplistic as they were, because basically all I was thinking about was not drinking, not using drugs, eating and going to a meeting and sleeping. Like, that was it, right? You know, when I think about that, those were some of my happiest days. They really were, you know? And sometimes I think, like, we look back on life, it's like, you know, you hear people say, like, well, when I was in that little apartment and I was, like, struggling, blah, 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 whatever, you know, but, like, that's so true when I look back on my life, you know, when I wasn't making a lot of money and I just made enough to cover my bills, but I didn't want for a lot, you know, and neither did my friends. I mean, you know, like my roommate and my ex and I would come home from work and we would go swimming at the pool, and, like, you know, we wouldn't even order a pizza because that was expensive sometimes, you know. We would just, I mean, we did sometimes, but we would just go get like a, you know, a Tony's pizza at the, you know, gas station or the grocery store, and then come home and, you know, we would sit there and split this pizza 3 ways. I mean, it just was that, you know, and I'm laughing because I look back and those were some great times, you know, and, you know, I can remember, like, Alex and I trying to, like, work on debt and things like that, you know, and we would, like, go on date nights where we would, like, look for places that had, like, you know, Applebee's we would go to, like, that was our date once a week because they had, like, the 2 for $20, you know, which I know to a lot of people probably sounds like a lot, but for us that was, like, a nice date, you know, to go out at that time. And we would, you know, like, you could get the 2 entrees and then, like, the appetizer and 2 drinks for $20, you know, like, that was a special deal for us. And so I look back at those hardship times, and those were some times that really, like, we grew, we bonded over that, you know. And I don't know, I think we minimize those, you know, struggles in our life sometimes. And I definitely think, like, with my addiction, which has been my biggest struggle in my entire life, I mean, it's given me everything that I have, you know what I mean? Like, literally everything I have is based on the foundation of my sobriety, which was the biggest struggle in my life. So I think it's all in how you look at hardships. Are you open to learning lessons from them, or are you closed off from that, you know? And I like to say that I'm always open to it, but I'm not. That's not, you know, sometimes I have to call people in my life. I have to call my support system. I have to talk to my husband. I have to call my sponsor. My sponsor is quick to put me into place. She'll say, like, this is an opportunity for growth. Are you choosing to take it? Sometimes I'm quick to say yes, and other times I'm like, can I get back to you tomorrow? You know what I mean? So anyway, let me know what you think about that meditation in the comment section below. I thought that was a great, and now in retrospect, I think that was a good meditation. And yeah, that was a good meditation for today, and I needed to hear that. So I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.